up in the Bronx, when the Bronx was a very, very Jewish area. And even though my parents were not religious, they sent me to a Jewish day school, where I went from 1st to 8th grade. And when I graduated the day school, I had to decide what to do about high school, and I applied to a couple of Jewish high schools, but I also applied to the Bronx High School of Science. And since it was free, and since my parents weren't particularly religiously observant, they thought that would be a better choice. So I went to Bronx Science, and at that time Bronx Science was about 80% Jewish. Today it's about 80% Asian. Yeah. Then it was 80% Jewish. There was a small minority of non-Jews that they let in, just so that nobody would think it was a Jewish school. And the transition to Bronx Science was actually quite easy for me, because there were a number of people from my 8th grade, from my day school, who also went there, and the people were very nice. And for me, again, growing up in a relatively sheltered, kind of environment where all of my friends were Jewish, and all of my classmates, it was a nice introduction to, a few non-Jews who were sprinkled amongst the largely Jewish crowd in the high school. It was just fine. And then at the end of 9th grade, my parents moved out of New York. And I went to a public high school in Westchester, Roosevelt High School. And this was really a very, very difficult adjustment.
Is that Mount Vernon?
Hmm? No, it's in the northeastern part of Yonkers. And I went there, and it was a place where everybody had gone to a couple of junior high schools. There were 2 feeder junior high schools that everybody had gone to for 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, and now entered this 10th grade of this high school. And so, everybody in the school knew about half the people in the school, except for lonely little me. And this school, in contrast, was 2/3 of the students were not Jewish. And I was in a situation where it wasn't just that I didn't know anyone, it was that everybody else knew most of the people around them. And when I was going through it, I was aware that I was always socially very at ease. I always had a lot of friends. And I was aware that it was like, getting to know people. And like I never consciously tried to make friends. Like that was something that just came naturally to me. And it was just being in a similar crowd of people. It just was very easy. And now all of a sudden I was like, who do I want to be friendly with? Who should I try to approach? How do I get to know people? Like this was a major growing up experience for me. Up until that point, I know some of you may find this very hard to believe, up until this point in 10th grade, I was a very, very boisterous, misbehaving young kid who spent about half of his time in elementary school in the principal's office. Some people say I liked it so much that's where I wanted to end up. I was very comfortable there. But it was a very, very difficult and it was a very maturing experience for me. And it's not that people were mean to me, nor do I remember people being overly receptive and nice to me. But I remember the difficulty. When I look back on it, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. It took me out of my shelter in a big way. It made me think about things a little more deeply than I had up until that point in life. It was really a growing up experience. So this is not exactly what Aviva probably wanted me to say. But what I do want to say is that all of us know that sometimes we're thrown into a new situation. And when nobody knows each other, so it's a little bit uncomfortable. When everybody else seems to know each other, it's even more uncomfortable. And sometimes there's just a small thing that each of us can do to welcome each other and to be open to each other that may be small for us, but actually can be a big opening for somebody else. So welcome to all of the new students, welcome to all of the returning students, and I wish everybody much success, much הצלחה.
אני קם בעברית בבוקר ושותה בעברית קפה, משלם בעברית ביוקר על כל דבר שאני